Hello, Algebra 1. This is our page 2, of the interim 3 test review. We are looking for quotient. Quotient means we are going to divide. So sometimes we'll see it shown like this. Now, when we are supposed to divide, we need to factor and cancel. But here's a clue. If they're telling me that I can divide by x plus 3, that means that one of my factors is also going to be x plus 3, and I just have to figure out the other factor that will go next to it. Now you can go about your regular factoring process. A equals 1, B equals -1, C equals -12. A times C is -12, and we need a factor pair that adds up to -1. So we list -1 and 12, or 1 and -12. -2 and 6, or +2 and -6. -3 and 4, +3 and -4. And we come upon this pair because that will equal -1 when we add them up. Remember, because A is 1, we do not need to do the box. We just take these numbers and put them right in here. We already have the +3, so this other one is x minus 4. Then I cancel these two, and my final answer is x minus 4. Now, when you check in Desmos and you put in your original like this, it is going to make a line because that will also make a line when you put it in line 2. You want them to be exactly the same. Part B is the same situation. We are going to divide by x minus 4, which means that, I'll draw a little line here, which means that all of this on the top will be over x minus 4 when I factor it. And again, I already know, because they're asking me to divide, if this is going to work, this will cancel out top and bottom. So what's going to go over here? Well, again, let's do our A equals 3, B equals -14, and C equals 8. A times C equals 24. And our factor pairs are either both positive or they are both negative. And I would have +2 and 12, and then -2 and -12. I think I was just getting excited there that right here is my pair that is going to add up to -14. Now, because A is 3, I am going to do the box. So let's set up the box, and we place our original 3x squared here. We are splitting the -14 into -2 and -12 with an x. And then we need the +8 here at the end. Now it's all about GCF. What do both of these have in common? They both have an x. What do both of these have in common? Remember, you can do GCF on Desmos and put in -12 and 8. Now, Desmos is going to tell you 4, but because this has a negative right here, we need to make it -4. And look, we already knew that one. It's already up here. Now let's go vertical. Between the 3 and the -12 is 3, and they both have an x. And then the -2 and the 8, again, Desmos will say 2, but because this is negative, put a negative sign there. So now we have our other factor, which is 3x minus 2. These two will cancel, and our final answer is 3x minus 2. Once again, please check in Desmos. This answer needs to match when you put all of that in line 1. Okay, our next 3 problems are all asking you to do the same thing. The zeros. Okay, remember that zeros are the same thing as your x-intercepts, and we had that on our last test. Well, we now know that they are also roots and solutions, which we'll see on the next page. We'll see both of those vocabulary words. But basically, all I have to do is locate my origin, and then on the x-axis, where is my graph crossing? And it's crossing at -2, and it's crossing at +3. Now, the factors that will go with those, that's when you get a sign change. Okay, so instead of -2, you change it to +2. Instead of +3, you change it to -3. So those factors will match this graph. Then to get the equation, I'm going to multiply x times x is x squared. X times -3 is -3x. 2 times x is +2x. 2 times -3 is -6. I can combine these two, and my final answer for my equation is x squared minus 1x, or just minus x minus 6. And again, please check with Desmos. Make sure when you graph this, it should look like this parabola that you have over here crossing at these two places. Part B, let's do the same thing. We have our origin is here, so let's look for our zeros at 1 and 4. Then when we make factors out of those, we change the sign x minus 1, x minus 4. And then let's multiply them together. X times x is x squared. X times -4 is minus 4x. -1, I could put -1 or just -x, and that's +4. So my result for my equation is x squared minus 5x plus 4. And again, check your graph. That's the equation. And our last one, same thing. Locate your origin, then go over and you see -2, -6 are the zeros. -6 and -2. The factors, we do a sign change. And then we multiply those to get our equation. X times x is x squared. X times 2 is 2x. 6 times x, 6x. 6 times 2 is 12. These two can go together, and our result is x squared plus 8x plus 12. And again, graph it in Desmos. Make sure it matches. If it doesn't, maybe you forgot to do your sign change up here or something like that. That concludes page 2 of your test review.